So I have been thinking about more recently. When I say it in recently, I mean like just now. Because sometimes like when it comes to putting together these videos, I'm kind of like thinking about what it is that I want to talk about, and sometimes it's just like free form and flowing, and other times it's like, is there anything specifically I want to touch base on? Um, I want to talk on the subject of feeling stuck because I have been there before in my life, and I know that many other people struggle with that. There have been things that I've been learning about recently that make me realize that I guess stuckness is something along the lines of stagnation. Stagnation specifically referring to energy blockages in the body, right? And energy blockages in the body seem to occur because of, I guess the word is emotional suppressing or suppressment. Anyway, when you suppress your emotions, there becomes a stagnation of energy in the body, right? And this is actually what leads to disease, oftentimes. Um, so what's interesting here is that I, I grew up being a people pleaser, right? Codependent, all that stuff, nice guy, everything. Um, and the interesting thing here is that that was born out of my expression of healthy anger being rejected, right? So it's very interesting because, like, I have noticed that a lot of people have a tendency to feel stuck in life, right? And when I observe it for the most part, it's usually because they're not giving themselves permission to feel, right? And that's a problem. When you don't give yourself permission to feel what it is that you need to feel, you're going to screw yourself up. That's just the reality of it. And I was watching a podcast episode between Gabor Mate and Tom Bilyeu within the past month, and just what was being said in the episode was so interesting. Gabor Mate was saying that when children are taught to suppress their emotions, for starters, the emotional system and the immune system, they go hand in hand, right? And because of that, what ends up happening is that when you suppress your emotions, you're actually suppressing your immune system. So it's actually obvious at that point why that kind of thing could lead to disease, right? Regardless of what the disease is, it can lead to disease, and it's just very interesting because I'm kind of like looking at disease as like stuckness now. And that's very interesting because like disease is oftentimes a manifestation of blockages of energy, right? We are intended to flow. And when we do not flow, things get fucked up. Things get built up, things get backed up, and they get messed up. And I think that that's just very interesting. I see a lot of people, like trying to like unstuck themselves. And like I also see people. I'm not a fan at all. I've gone through everything. I've been prescription medicated and everything. Um, I I'm not a fan of the pharma. I'm not a fan of big pharma. I'm a fan of holistic living. I understand that some people feel like they need to take it to get themselves through it and everything. But what I really want to address, because it is foundational to everything that somebody is experiencing, is the root cause of everything: childhood trauma. So when you look at childhood trauma, you look at what it is you've been through, then you can look at where you are, and you can more easily understand it. Maybe not more easily, but in fine detail, you're able to see it in a much better picture, I guess you could say. And it's important to understand that because while many doctors out there try to just, prescribe you and everything and, band aid the symptoms, the problem is still there, right? The problem is you were taught to suppress your healthy anger because nice boys don't get angry. And what that led to was a lifetime, maybe not an entire lifetime, but decades of depression, right? Because from what I understand, when you don't allow yourself to get angry when necessary, you get depressed. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting contrast and like different way to look at it. And so, like whenever I see people just going right to the pills and everything, I immediately think you have a foundation that you need to explore that there's a good chance you're probably not exploring for whatever reason, but that's really what needs to happen. You need to explore the foundation. You need to dive into the shit, into the abyss, right? And once you start sitting with it and everything, and you can actually look at yourself, and after discovering things, right, like looking back at the root causes, like, oh, I've felt this way my entire life because my parent talked to me this way and instilled in my brain the idea that I am a worthless piece of shit who will never be good enough and will never deserve anything good. Yeah, that's going to leave an imprint. So when you can look at that, right, instead of popping the pill and just trying to rewire whatever's going on in here, when you can actually sit with that and allow yourself to cry and break through fucking stigmas of bullshit that this fucking numbed society has created, you can actually let the tears out because crying is a fucking healthy response. You can scream. Let that fucking anger, that suppressed healthy anger out that you've been holding on to for so long, that you've been suppressing for so long, that through the act of suppressing it, you've actually kind of like pivoted your body towards the potential of disease. If you'd ask anybody if they want disease, I don't know in what mind you'd have to be, unless you're being a sarcastic person, or unless you're being sarcastic. But I don't know in what right mind you'd be to say yes to that. I don't think anybody wants that. But then, when it comes to actually like expressing healthy anger, it's like so many people are like, we have emotions, right? We need to express them. That's just the way that it is. We need to express our emotions. So you have two choices. You either realize that there's nothing wrong with healthy anger, you feel it, and you're more than welcome to, through that process of feeling and healing, tell whoever the fuck it was that told you not to feel that shit because it's not okay or unacceptable to go fuck themselves. Yeah, it's not okay that anybody ever told you or anybody else that that emotion was unacceptable. No, it's not okay. It's not okay at all. It's not okay. It's fucking disgusting. And that in and of itself is a trauma response to their own shit. It's mind-blowing, this whole nice guy complex, this whole people-pleasing complex. It's crazy. It's totally crazy. I've got receipts. I do. I know what it's like. I've been there. It's not fun. It's not fun to go throughout your entire life believing that you need to sacrifice the self for everyone else. That's fucking lame. There's nothing wrong with you. Nothing. Things happened in your life that molded your personality into the way that you are, but there's nothing wrong with you. Sit with that for a while.